Hi, this is Mrs. Bustamante. We're going to do the first dihybrid practice problem on your worksheet together so you know how to set up a dihybrid cross and what a dihybrid cross is. So we spent some time talking about monohybrid crosses, which was a cross with just one trait. Di means two, so dihybrid crosses are crosses that are going to involve two traits at the same time. And what's tricky about dihybrid crosses is really just setting them up and making sure you understand all the vocabulary that's used in the question. So I'm going to read the question and we're going to talk about why I underlined some of the things in the question. It says, in Mendel's pea plants, purple flowers, capital P, were dominant. So right there when I read the question, I thought, okay, purple flowers are going to be a capital P. I'm going to show my capital P as a P with a line on the bottom just because P is kind of confusing when you have a capital and a lowercase at the same time. And now I know that purple flowers are dominant, and they're dominant over white flowers, lowercase p. So when I hear that, I think to myself, okay, anytime I have a capital P, that means I'm going to have purple flowers. So there are two genotypes that could give me a purple flower phenotype. I could be capital P, lowercase p, which would be heterozygous, or I could be homozygous dominant, which would be capital P, capital P. And again, these letters are just alleles that we use to represent the genes, or letters we use to represent the alleles, rather. And we use the capital letter to represent the dominant, and the lowercase letter to represent the recessive allele. So it told me white flowers were recessive because purple was dominant over white. So the only way I can get white flowers are little p, little p. That's the only way to get white flowers here. Okay, so that was me dissecting that first sentence, just taking apart what that would mean. Also, axial to the side, flower position, capital A is dominant. So now I know that axial is dominant, so that means anything with a capital A will be axial, and again that could be heterozygous, capital A, lowercase a, or capital A, homozygous dominant, because I now know anytime I have a capital A, I'm going to have axial flowers, and it's dominant over terminal at the top flower position. So the only way I can get terminal flowers or flowers at the end is if I have lowercase a, lowercase a. If two parents are heterozygous for both traits, and remember heterozygous means different, so that means that they're going to have a dominant and a recessive allele for both flower color and for flower position. What will the phenotypic probability of each combination be? So I'm going to cross two heterozygous parents. And so I have to think about what does the heterozygous parent look like here? Okay, so both are heterozygous. For both traits. Okay, so if I'm heterozygous for flower color, that means I'm going to be capital P, lowercase p. So capital P, and again, I'm going to show it with a little line there just so it's easier for me to understand it's a capital P and a lowercase p. And I'm going to be heterozygous for my flower position, which means I'm capital A, lowercase a. And both parents are this, so I'm going to show that I'm crossing them with an X there. And this is parent 1, say, and parent 2. Maybe we'll do parent 2 in a different color. How about pink? Parent 2 will represent as capital P, lowercase p, capital A, lowercase a, just so we can tell them apart. The color doesn't mean anything. So right here, I've kind of taken all the information just given to me in the problem, and now I know what I'm starting with and kind of what I have to do with it a little bit.